Yassel, how are you?
Shalom Aleichem.
Thank you so much for coming up to Muncie.
You know, it takes a lot to get me up at 6:30 in the morning. Wow. Besides like a bris, and Muncie's the other side of the world for people like me from Lakewood. But you know, for somebody like Reb Abie, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for probably close to 20 years, who I had the pleasure of interviewing once or twice in the past, I was like, a new Journeys album is coming. It's been 18 years.
Yes.
I have to drive down to Muncie to talk to Abie about a new album.
Drive up to Muncie. I drove.
It's like when I was in Toronto the first 2 years. Everyone was like, "Where are you going for Shabbos?" I'm going to my grandparents in Thornhill. Are you going down to Thornhill? Are you going up to Thornhill? I'm not good like that.
You're not good with.
I know where I'm going. I don't know if it's north,
you know
south.
where you're going, but you don't know which.
I'm going home. I'm going to Montreal. I'm going down. You mean you're going up? You're going north.
Vivaldi. Anyway, thank you for coming. Yes.
Always a pleasure. Being that we're discussing your career and journeys, I never really asked you this, but your first album you put out was Dveikus back in the day.
Oh boy, a long time ago.
And then came Journeys. Like, what was the thought process of going from these Hartzig and Nigunim, these Dveikus songs, to going all English straight at that point in your career?
That's a great question. So, in terms of the time lapse, I started writing Nigunim as a teenager. When I got to yeshiva, I went to Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim. So the mashiach, when I came to the first day of yeshiva, he said, "You need a chavrusa. There's a fellow in the back and the side of the base medrash who also needs a chavrusa. I think the two of you should start off together, see how it goes." And that fellow happened to have been Reb Label Sharfman. So Label and I became close friends. Label was already famous for singing on the Rabbi's Sons. Wonderful voice, wonderful baritone, and we became good friends, and he got to know that I had a musical ear, and I would sing him some of my Nigunim, and we talked about doing an album together. So that's how Dveikus sort of germinated. Yossi Sonnenblick was in yeshiva at the time, so he joined us, and you know, over the years, other performers joined, Eli Kranzler, Rivi Schwabel. But I was just a kid growing up in New York. I knew Nigunim. I knew how to take a pasuk and write a song to the pasuk, but I had no visions of ever writing songs in English. And then later on, when I was older, I went into chinuch. I worked in a high school in California, in Los Angeles, and many of the kids, the clientele that we had, were not religious or not fully religious, or from traditional homes, but not really fully observant. So there was an element of kiruv in the work that we did on a daily basis. And I started to realize that as much as a good niggin is nice, a good Kalbach song, which is easy to learn and easy to sing, is good, and the kids they needed songs that they could resonate with them and would be meaningful to them. And I started thinking about writing songs in English. And then I heard Megama, the great Moshe Yes albums, right. and I was further motivated because of them, and I started writing. The first song I wrote was "It's Time to Say Good Shabbos,"
and you're still writing about Shabbos.
Still writing about Shabbos.
You were nice enough to give me probably 9 tracks to listen to, out of what I hear is going to be a 14-song album.
Yes.
That's Abie usually keeps straight to 10 songs.
I'm telling you, Matti Grunberg, my business manager, he says, "What, you couldn't make 2 albums out of this? You know, like, why just one?" Anyway, but kidding aside, but listen, it's been 18 years. They're not all my songs. I have to be quite upfront. I have 2 songs from a son, 2 songs from a daughter, and another song from another daughter. They're all wonderful tunes. I hope the audience will agree with me that they're great, both lyrically as well as musically. I do an adaptation of a Moshe Yes song. I do an adaptation of a Chaim David song. And then I think the rest are mine. Or at least I have my
few in between here and there.
Yeah, I think so.
And I must tell you that the funny thing that you just said, that you started writing with "It's Time to Say Good Shabbos," and now you're on your 5th Journeys, and one of the songs I'm listening to is "Waiting for Shabbos." At least Baruch Hashem, it's Shabbos. Yes. I'm like, wow, like Abie's still trying to drill, certain thought process that, it was time to say good Shabbos. And, it was like, that song was about waiting for Shabbos and turning things off for Shabbos. But now you're like, the song is Baruch Hashem, it's Shabbos, and it's you. And
Shlomi Gertner.
I'm listening to the song and I'm like, wow, that sounds like Gertner. And I was surprised at how sweet the vocals came out and how your voices blended so well together.
Thank you. That's a change on this album. This album, I decided, first of all, 18 years is a long time.
It is.
And not only is it 18 years, there was a monumental, life-changing, but genre-altering development in the world of music, and that is the previous album was still in the analog age,
right?
And today everything is digital. And it's so much easier to communicate, to send music here, to send music there. You imagine in the olden days trying to have people, you would have to create this convention of musicians and decide who should sing what. Today it's just so much easier to do, to reach out and have other people participate. Plus, in the last 18 years, I mean, the explosion of Jewish music in general, and there's so many wonderful, wonderful performers with unique voices, and I decided to use them on this album and see if they'd want to participate and sing some of my songs or our songs and put their stamp on it, so to speak. So Baruch Hashem, we have Shulam Lemmer sings a song. Avram Fried sings a song.
I was blown away. I was blown away at this. And Mordechai Shapiro sings a song. And
I tried very hard. I gave a lot of thought to which song to.
And Shlomo Simcha and Baruch Levine and Lev Tahar and Eli Schwebel.
I sing a little bit as well. I couldn't in good conscience give away everything, but I gave away most of it.
I was going to say, most of the people that I spoke to, believe it or not, they want an Abie album because they want to hear Abie. And I know you're uncomfortable with this. I remember learning in Yeshiva Dol Toronto, Rabbi Braska's Yeshiva, and we were schmoozing. There was an event, and you and Shlomo Simcha lived fairly close to the Yeshiva. And guys says, Abie gets very sick before a concert. So I was like, I think about it, yeah, he threw up. It's like, but Abie's doing this for a while. No, but you're still, I think you're still very uncomfortable with that.
Ever since I became a Zayda, I'm much less nervous going on stage.
But is in the studio, do you still have that nervousness, or is it everything?
No, in the studio is never nervous.
Never nervous.
Studio stage, going on stage, how well rehearsed, how well do you know it? People are paying money, buying tickets, and you want to. You
put on your best.
Put on the best, and so that was always a little bit concerning to me. But I'm better now. So Baruch Hashem.
Rav Shlomo was quoted saying the melodies for his song come down based on the words. So I'm just thinking, how does it work with Abie Rotenberg and Journeys? Because you're writing the words, you're writing the melodies. What comes first? Is the melody come first, and then the thought process of what the song is going to be about? And then the lyrics, do the lyrics come first, and then you have to find a melody to it? Because you're doing everything, so what is the process?
It's a great question. It works both ways. Sometimes you'll have a tune and you'll put words to it, like The Place Where I Belong, was Reb Shalom Shvadron used to sing that niggin, and it was always floating around in my head, and when the words for The Place Where I Belong came along, I felt a natural fit with that niggin. Other times, like the Atheist Convention, I had the words first, and I had to tailor the niggin and fit it into the words and the phrasing, and I did it that way. On this album, the first song, Chaverim Kol Yisrael, which Benny Friedman sings, is not my tune completely. It's an adaptation. I adapted a Bubba Vanigan for that song. So people who know the Bubba Vanigan are going to say, wait, that sounds sort of familiar to me. And because I take elements of the song and I change some elements of it as well to fit the words. So that's like a hybrid, where I had the niggin, but I needed to change the niggin a little bit to make it a little bit more simple and singable. And so it works all ways.
I got to tell you that for me, by the way, I call that the Mashiach song.
Yes.
I know it's called Chaverim Kol Yisrael, but it's a song, and most of the songs about Mashiach throughout our time, from Fried, Mordechai, and David, they're waiting and wanting. And over here, Abie wrote a song like the band, Mashiach's here. How are the Goyim going to react saying that they're wrong and how the world is such a better place and everyone's getting along?
Well, if you think about the tefillah, it really was, the song was inspired by the tefillah we say on Shabbos Mevorchim.
Okay.
Right? We say, Misha Osanisim Lavoiseinu, Lagaloisam Yavdus Lacheres, Hu Yigaloisanu, Vikabes Nidochenu Rabba Chaverim Ka'orim Mi Chaverim Kol Yisrael. What's that doing? So Pshat is, I mean, even if you see the Art Scroll Siddur, then Chaverim Kol Yisrael.
Not before.
Right. In other words, you know what? If we could get to Chaverim Kol Yisrael without Mashiach, then Mashiach would come immediately, I think. But certainly when Mashiach comes, then so that aspect of Mashiach, there are many aspects to Mashiach coming. The Malchus of Hashem and yes, peace, world peace, and all these things are going to be wonderful, and life and the spirituality of life afterwards. That's not the focus of this song. The focus of this song is that Mashiach comes and then the whole world will unite, the Jewish world, the Gentile world. There'll be peace. Israel will be. We have a video coming out as well for this.
A video?
Yes, we have a video coming
You're in a video. I thought the Aish thing, we really pushed the envelope by having Abie do a video for Aish, but...
No, it's not so much that I'm in the video, but we have like a scene in the video is where the United Nations building becomes the Israeli embassy, because that's what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. That building's going to be, because Israel's going to be the most popular and wonderful country in the eyes of the world, and that's Chaverim Kol Yisrael, but more important than how the world sees us. We, every single Yid in the world is going to recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu, recognize each other, be Chaverim again, be Yedidim, be Ahuvim. That's going to happen in the days of Mashiach. So that sentiment comes through in the song, and I'm very proud of it, of the words, and the adaptation of the nigun as well, something I thought worked very well. Very happy song.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I know that the fact that these children will be singing about Mashiach being here, I think, is a great thing for the next generation.
Alavai, it should cause tremendous tzipiyah for Mashiach, and that's chus. As old Takakumen.
So, Abie, we're holding here by Journeys 5. Rumor is, immediately after Journeys 5, you're going to start working on the Vegas 7. Now, you released H3 like a year ago. Does that mean that there are plans for Time to Laugh too?
Oh boy, if I had time, if I had to pick one sequel I'd love to do, it would be that one. I'd love to do that.
Really?
Get together with the chevra.
So we got to speak to Eminem to try to get it to happen, right?
Reb Shmuel Klein, and to all the chevra. But everybody's busy, you know. In those days, we were still young. We were young parents. We had, first of all, we had more creative juices, I think, in those days. But also, you know, today everybody's busy with parnasa and with einakluch, and it's not easy, you know.
No, it's not easy.
Nobody has time. Just going to simchas kenai nahara baruch Hashem keeps us so busy. So, anyway.
So we're discussing Chaverim Kol Yisrael. Last night you sent me a track, Al Sadiqim, I think it's called, right? And I'm listening to the voice. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Avram Fried. And it's a story about after the war, how the Yidden came out broken after the war, and they needed something to pick themselves up. And the first Yom Tov was Pesach, and it was the Sklener Rebbe. The Sklener Rebbe set up a matzah bakery.
Set up a little oven, and he sent out word that people should come from far and wide. He's going to try to give everybody one matzah.
That's it.
Nobody should come and ask for more than one matzah. Anyway, I don't want to give away the story.
Right.
People hopefully who watch this video, should go run out and get the album, you know, or 2 or 3, you know. Friends, gifts,
USB for the car, CD for the house.
There you go, USB for the car. You know, give it to a neighbor who's not from. You know, there are songs on the album that are songs about God and Yiddishkeit that are not necessarily for our Hamish crowd. There are songs there that are as on all the journeys. You know, there are songs that are that I hoped would touch people's hearts, whether they were from or not from. But and Baruch Hashem, over the years, you know, we know of cases and stories where people have been moved to think, at least, you know, whether or not they
contemplate the world,
contemplate life,
contemplate my mother was Jewish, and what does it mean to me?
Absolutely. So let people discover the entire song for themselves. But Avram did an amazing job. He put his heart and soul into it, and back and forth, you know, is this and that, is this good, is that good? He was tremendously involved with ideas and suggestions, and it listen, he made a commitment to sing it, and he went in all the way, and that's how Avraham is. He's a real professional.
I think the other thing I enjoyed about the album, besides having all of these guest stars, is I don't think you'd ever hear these guys sing these songs on their albums. So you're getting another dimension of an Abie song that they made their own, but like Mordechai Shapiro doesn't sing anything remotely similar to this song that he's singing here.
But he fits like a glove.
But he fits like a glove. Avram Fried also. Avram Fried has had English songs in the past, but I couldn't imagine the song being an Avram Fried album, but now it's going to be an Avram Fried song for life.
I'm not sure I agree with you. I think Fried, maybe in Yiddish, maybe not in English, right? So, for example, the Yom Tov songs that he does some ballads. He does some long ballads. So this is a long ballad as well.
It is.
He just pulls it off in English as opposed to Yiddish. So yeah, he's done that kind of song before. But anyway, his voice is just amazing.
Now, with this all-star cast in mind, were there any stars that were cast for a specific song as they were being written, or was everything, okay, Donnie, let's sit down, let's go through the songs, let's see who fits what at some point?
The songs were not with particular vocalists in mind.
Not even The Town?
No.
Really?
No. First of all, My Little Town was written
by
my son. My Little Town was written by my son Hanania, who lives here in Muncie, and he has 2 songs on the album, My Little Town and Journey at Sea. And my daughter Shifra, who lives in Jackson, not far from you, wrote From the Ashes and The Ring. And my daughter Bella Levitime wrote The Secret. So 5 of the 14 songs I said are for my children. And
she called the album The Legacy already. I mean, the Rotenberg Legacy.
My wife wanted me to say something like that, but I said, I don't want people to think it's really. If I had written those songs, or not, they're just so the quality is there, and in the writing and in the music. So
you're saying you have 5 songs from Sheldon Abie. How does one's child approach them with a song? Is this something they just do when they know you're working on an album? Is this something they do? They're like, I wrote an amazing song in the middle of nowhere. What do you think about it?
Well, without my kids, this album would not have gotten off the ground, because I was in I guess at that time it was about a 15-year hibernation. And I tried. It's not like I didn't try to write songs or think of ideas. Nothing came to me. I had several of the songs on the album. 2 of the songs on the album I did have. But besides those 2 songs, and there was nothing there, and I had nothing happening. And
writer's block.
Maybe writer's block. I was doing some other things. I did the season of Pepsi Myers.
That's right.
So I wrote that book.
The Eliyahu Navi Art Scroll book.
I did the Sefer on Eliyahu Navi. We did.
And you're working on a new Sefer.
I am, but that was more in the more recent.
No, I'm saying in general though, you're still.
I think I started on Journeys.
The new one's on David HaMelech?
The new one? No. Rabbi Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva.
Hope to write a sefer on Rabbi Akiva. Mitzvah Hashem, the Eibush should give me koyach and the seichel to do it. Anyway, but I was doing Journeys, H3.
Right.
So
With Donnie.
H3 with Donnie, and meeting Donnie certainly also opened up my eyes to much more what's going on in digital music and some of those possibilities. But at the same time, about 3 years ago, the children started presenting me with some songs, and the ones that are on the album are the ones that resonated with me in a profound way. And I write a letter in the credits on the booklet. People will see that it was my children who got me off the couch, and it was more like I had to catch up to them and come up with some more material. So I was highly motivated to come up with some songs, and then the album sort of came together.
I got to tell you, My Little Town is a song that like blew me away.
It blew me away as well.
And it's funny because you have songs about the Holocaust. It's not like a topic you haven't really covered.
There are 3 songs on Journeys 5 that are related to the Holocaust.
Correct.
My Little Town is a song about life, about the Holocaust and life pre-Europe.
Vala Tzadikim.
Ala Tzadikim is a story or a ballad that happened immediately after the war. So the war is not really the story.
Correct.
It's the background to the story.
Correct.
And then there's From the Ashes, written by my daughter Shifi, which is a wonderful song about rebirth after the Holocaust. And the pintele Yid, the spark of Yiddishkeit that everyone has, that we were able to rebuild from the ashes, is Kishmoy Kein Hu. It's an ode, it's a tribute to Holocaust survivors for rebuilding the Jewish world after what they've been through. So that's an amazingly powerful song. And I feel an achrayus to still sing about the Holocaust, as sad and as hard as it is to think about, and as painful as it is to remember those years. We can't forget them. We have to remember them. We have to know what a precarious life we have as Yidden in this world, and the Rebbeinu Shalom's grand plan. But Zachar Yomai Sailam, we have to remember, we can't forget. We're going through, wonderful years here in the United States and in Eretz Yisrael and throughout the world. But and Jewish music has trended and followed more or less the trajectory of Jewish history. And our music today is so upbeat and so wonderful and so happy, and everybody's dancing and everybody's singing and everybody's feeling great about the world and life. But Jewish history and what we've been through should never be forgotten.
I think it's very important, and the fact that your children composed some of these songs about the Holocaust, and their parents weren't from that generation. Also,
my children, though,
they're 2 generations removed.
My children grew up with grandparents who went through the war, and they were very close to their grandparents. And my in-laws were outspoken. They talked about their experiences. They talked a lot about life before the war and during the war. And my children were able to see what they did after the war and how they rebuilt, helped rebuild the Toronto community and their families.
I think that's a big credit to you and your wife, the way you and your in-laws and your parents, the way everybody brought everybody up.
Yes.
But this song, My Little Town, I was like telling my wife about it the other day. I didn't remember that it started off sad. I remembered that it was a song reminiscent of the time before the Holocaust. And then it ended the way it did. There were 600 people in my town, and I was the only survivor. I didn't remember that it started off the same way it ended.
Right.
Because the song has so many parts to it.
3 parts to the song, yeah.
And it takes you from
it's
sad, happy, and sad.
Sad, somewhere in between sad and happy, somewhere in between sad and happy, and then back to sad.
But there's that line Shulman does, and they go from happy to sad, round and round and round. Yes. The way he resonated it, the way he faded away his voice, even his vocals, it starts off so soft and it ends so soft.
Yeah.
Abie, who arranged the album? We got to talk about this. In the past, you've used Leib Yaakov Rigler.
Well, Journeys 4 was Leib Yaakov Rigler. Journeys 3 was myself and Yisrael Lamb.
Yisrael Lamb.
The first 2 albums I arranged. Again, when I arrange an album, it's much more of a formal arrangements. It's much more of myself playing and bringing in a few players here and there. But this album is mostly Donnie Gross. Some songs I worked with Donnie to make particular arrangement ideas. And Leib Yaakov does 3 songs. Leib Yaakov Rigler, the great Leib Yaakov Rigler.
And this is one of them.
This is one of them. And Yaron Gershovsky arranged a song. Yaron played piano on several songs. And his piano playing is almost like a vocal performance. It's just so intricate and delicate, and we're very, very pleased with what he was able to bring to this work.
I wanted to mention that you have 2 what I'm going to call reboots on the album, more than 2, but you have Mashiach's Kli Shlishi, which is not Stam a reboot. It's like your take on the way things are today, the way things used to be. And yes, we've got the music. Sequels and updates, they got to be interesting for you. It's like you feel something was left unsaid, so to speak.
So on Journeys 3, which was 1994, maybe 96?
96, I think.
No, I think
94, you're right. Yeah.
3 and 4. So 1994, which is 27 years,
more than
28 years ago.
Yeah.
So 28 years ago, we did Yes, We've Got the Music from Rosenblatt on gramophone to Or Chadash and Simchaton and Shlomo and Mordechai
and compact disc,
and
yes.
Lakis and Journeys and compact disc, Chrome cassette
and compact disc.
So it was time for a reboot, an update, you know, and so much has happened in the music world, the Jewish music world since then. So we updated some of the technology. We updated, obviously, names, you know, current names, and over the past 25 years, Williger, Dax, Wald, et cetera, Levine and
Monty
Yehuda
Steinmetz,
Green.
yeah, I was surprised at the wide variety there. Yishai
I
Ribo.
give out a shout out to Yaakov Brown in Eretz Yisrael, who sent me a laundry list of names, and we, those names that I recognized and heard of, I was happy to include, and and instead of Chrome cassette and compact disc, it's
I think it was
what are they
digital
called?
and in the cloud,
right,
or something.
in the cloud,
yeah.
right, on data sticks,
Data
and
sticks
in the cloud.
in the cloud.
So it was a lot of fun. That was the last song we came up with, and it's the last song on the album. So, you know, it's full circle, but it was a lot of fun doing that song. And you're right, I do an adaptation of a Moshe Yes song, and I as well, we have a little tribute to Moshe Yes, who unfortunately passed away in the interim between Journeys 4 and Journeys 5. He left this world, and we pay a little tribute to him as one of the tracks. I just say a few words with him singing in the background. And
his son Tali does the vocal.
And that leads into, that tribute leads into to the song that I sang with his son Tali. And it's a fun song, and it shows Moshe's, you know, unique take on Jewish life and his country heart. And
yeah, that song is all country. I'm sure Donnie arranged that song.
Donnie arranged that song.
All country.
It's pure country, yes. And Tali's voice is amazing, so it should be an aliyah for his neshama. People should, are going to learn the Rav Moshe Feinstein Paskin, ain't no bishul in a kli shlishi. Rav Moshe didn't use the word ain't no bishul, but ain't bishul but kli shlishi, he writes. So.
Now we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Why?
Because we have the coffee tea bags that are available now from Gaia.
Well, you have to hold that there's no bishul in a kli shlishi in order to use a tea bag or to use a coffee bag.
Right.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
Blue velvet coffee brew bags from Gaia. Yeah. So again, for those of you that are that follower of Moshe's Shita, as long as the water's in a kli shlishi, go right ahead and dip your tea or coffee bag in there, because there ain't no bishul in a kli shlishi.
I got to tell you that one line in this song that you said that it's still piping hot, or it's like still.
Well, that's Rav Moshe.
What was that? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the line by heart or not?
The food.
Food in that cup is still hot.
Right, the food in that bowl sure seems hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, but Chazal say is.
But this isn't something you did new. You mean you had the Ninth Man Part 2.
Correct.
So is there a future for the Shadchan Part 2?
For the Shadchan?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I never gave that any thought.
This is what happens when he's a grandfather.
Yeah.
Until he's a great grandfather, he's not thinking about Shadchanim anymore.
Not for a while. I have a break, a little bit of a break. But we also did an adaptation of a song written many years ago by Chaim David Sarasik in Eretz Yisrael. And some people know the song. He called it Seven Shepherds.
I remember that,
and he has this wonderful, wonderful chorus, and he talks about Sisrei Torah. Anyway, we adapted it as well we call it the Ushpizen song, because it's the 7 guests who come to the sukkah, and we wrote some additional lyrics. And I just sent it to him because we just finished mixing it. So I sent it to him last night, and he was very pleased. So I'm happy to say that, and it's a heilig nigun, and I hope the Olam really, really enjoys it and sings it in their sukkah with their families. That would make me there are not a lot of songs to sing on sukkahs, you know.
The Ushpizen song is so interesting for me because in Journeys you expect a whole English song, and this for me was like half and half.
Half and half.
But it's like, to me, it's like a hybrid Journeys Dvekas. That's exactly. I don't know if you feel the same way.
It is. You're
but right. Going through the Ushpizen and talking about their chasodim and what their merits are, it was just.
Yeah, well, that's in the language of the Ushpizen.
Yeah.
They were, but it's really a song about the Sisrei Torah, because the whole Ushpizen concept is really, it's not in Shulchan Aruch. It's not something it's in the Zohar. It's in the Sifrei in the Sifrei Nistar. Mm-hmm. So it's an ode to that type of mystical secrets of the Torah. So I hope people enjoy and sing it.
Journey's one was released in 1984. Dvekus one,
84, 85. something like that.
1973. Now, obviously, technology has come a long way in almost half a century, Abie. Believe it? It's been that long. You and Donnie, this is what, your second or second project together?
Yes.
Question is he the builder and you the architect? Meaning, do you hand him the blueprints of your song and let him actually build it in the studio, or are you both collaborating from music to final mix, so to speak?
I don't think that any aspect of the album is fully myself without Donnie's imprint, and vice versa. Donnie didn't do anything without my collaboration as well. A real partnership all the way through. And I've said this before, Donnie is, he's much younger than me. He's from the new generation, but he always says his opinion. He's not intimidated at all by the fact that I've been around so long or that I have all this experience. If he feels something strongly, he'll express himself. I still had veto power, but he certainly sticks up for what he believes in musically. And it's an interesting shidduch, and one I think that people will enjoy and find a beautiful blend of old and new somehow coming together.
I must tell you, when I was listening to the Yes, We've Got the Music song on the album, I don't know if I was supposed to pick up on this, but there were other songs interjected in the melody. I heard MBD's Mashiach here. I heard a wedding song here or there.
Yes.
That was Donnie or that was you?
That was in the arrangement. That was Donnie. There's an Oji Shama in there.
There was Oji Shama, yeah.
And I think this is the first album that's ever had two of the same songs on the album. So we have Oji Shama in the My Little Town, in a wedding scene, and we have the Oji Shama in the arrangement later on.
I was actually surprised you did the Oji Shama with the clapping. I was like, Abie says they're at a chasna, they're going to sing, and then like the song just breaks. Oji Shama, the clapping. Right. Did you guys have to go to a real wedding to mic that up, or was that all studio work?
We had to think of what it needed to sound like.
You don't want it to sound too full clapping or too empty clapping.
I think I've said this before, but I remember when we did the Midos 4, so we did Up and Away again, right? Mm-hmm. And we sang it new. We had the kids sang it new, but we wanted the album to seem like a sequel and follow. And if you listen to all four albums, you're supposed to be able to listen to them
together
sequentially. Right. And the Up and Away sounded so different. And it was weird. It was strange. You couldn't listen to that Up and Away after you heard the other one. We realized we didn't have tape noise, right?
You serious?
I'm serious.
That's what it was.
There was a problem that it was too clean. It was digital.
You had to muddy it up a little bit.
So what we had to do is we had to put an artificial tape noise behind the track, and then they were seamless.
Like a hiss almost.
Right? I mean, the professionals, Shimmy, will attest to these things. It's fascinating. And you don't realize what's wrong. So here too, you can do it. We could do it. Leib Yaakov originally wrote the music, and it sounded like a current Oji Shama band. How they would Right. Oh, good. Go back. Accordion, clarinet. Just make it sound like
the bare minimum, like the way it would have been.
Make it sound very, very natural and authentic.
I think something that I like very much about this relationship between you and Donnie, as far as producer/arranger, it's very hard when you have an existing series that spans 30 or 40 years to keep the music in the same vein while updating it slightly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about, like electronic, but there are a lot of different ways and technologies available to music now that, you could have gone all out with some of these songs arrangements instead of leaving them in the, I would say, Journey's vein.
Yes.
Joe DiMaggio, Yerushalayim, the place to be, going all the way back. They have a certain simplicity to them.
Look, ultimately, I produce the album, and I want the album to be how I want it to sound. Mm-hmm. And if people enjoy that and can relate to that, gewaldig, that's great. I'm so pleased and happy that happens. But ultimately, I'm the one who has to be happy with it. And Donnie understood that as well and understands that. He may decide or choose to produce something in a certain way because of today's sensibilities and today's musical audience. But look, the songs on Journeys are really vehicles to get people to talk about ideas, to think about the concepts, to discuss them. And it's not just entertainment, it's not just to sit back and listen. The Journey songs are not good background music, you know.
No, they're not.
They're not.
It's not elevator music.
It's not elevator. It's not good to listen to them when you know, when you're at a wedding hall. I was going to play The Place Where I Belong in the background, you know, for background music. These are songs to listen to think about, to discuss. I get a lot of questions from people, and I love them. I love to hear from fans who want to know why you said this and you didn't say that, or you know, or how could the Rebbe get up to bat after that? He has to pinch run. All of these questions that they ask, and it's wonderful. But there's dialogue and there's thought, and there's people are engaged with the ideas in the song, and that makes me happy.
I got to tell you, the fact that you joined Instagram and Facebook, whether it's you or it's stand-in for you, I think it's a great ode to you, saying, hey, people wanted to reach me, you know, they're going to have to find a cassette to find a mailing address, an email address, but now the fact of the matter is they have a way to reach Abie directly, and you're pretty good at responding to these messages. I think that's very important in today's day and age.
I figured out a little bit the Facebook. I figured out how to work. Instagram, I have a thing, but I've never gone on Instagram yet. So I guess I'll have to figure that out.
I have to speak to some of the grandchildren. The ones that are not writing songs can be busy handling social media.
Good one. I don't know. I've not been on Instagram yet. Look, you know, you got to go with the flow. You want to reach people. You want to talk to people. You want to make a Rochel. You can't hide in a cave and be successful.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Now, let's get some rumors out of the way.
Okay.
Rumor is that there is a huge file out there of Abie outtakes, songs that never made it to albums.
Oh.
Is there ever plans on introducing an album of outtakes and letting us be the judge?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Baruch Levine could make like a, you know, take 2.5 or take 2, right? That's the name of his
new album, or Off the Record?
Oh, Off the Record. Really off the record.
OTR.
Off the record.
Really?
Songs that should have made it but didn't. I feel that way. I feel that I also feel that there were songs that became successful that I really didn't have as great expectations.
Yeah. You have an example?
I was nervous about Habet. You know,
You're serious? From Aish?
I was nervous that we didn't that it wasn't going to fly. I was nervous. I'm so pleased that it did. And
Holy
it became,
cow! Because that's like a huge song.
Yes, but I was nervous about that one before.
Was it because it's harder to sing for the average person, or
it's a very slow song. It's a very heartsick song. I was afraid maybe it would fly, fly by and not catch the catch the ear or the attention. You never know. I was nervous about that one. But I have several songs that I felt should have made it better and didn't. So, and I'm sure every composer, I'm sure Barry can say that, and Rachmiel Bagan and Yossi Green, they'll all tell you that I really thought that was going to go, and it just didn't happen. Maybe we should collaborate and get together. Each one pick 2 songs, and get all the composers together. Songs that we felt maybe people will reevaluate and agree with us.
It's an interesting way to look at it. Now, between your books like Pepsi Meyer and your Art School book in Eliyahu Novi, and your Marvelous Midos Machine series, which I hear now spawn toys, not just albums, you're the only composer whose stuff people can enjoy on Shabbos, not just a weekday anymore. Any plans for a Rotenberg cookbook or a Journeys hiking travel guide?
I'll tell you something. I'm not into cooking. I'm into eating. What should I tell you?
Journey through the Seder.
Journey through the Seder.
Any songs over the last 18 years that you wish you had composed that can be included on Journeys that you didn't?
There's so many beautiful songs out there today. I'm not a big expert in Jewish music. I don't listen to it a lot. But again, you go to weddings and a concert here and there, and I'm sometimes sitting backstage waiting to go on, and I hear what the chevra on stage are singing. And then today with videos and all these new songs, the beautiful adaptations, the Vizakeni adaptations are beautiful.
The new one just came out this week.
New one just came out, and Yaakov Shweki has some amazing songs in English, and wonderful Hebrew songs too. Eitan Katz is a wonderful mechaber, and there's just so much talent out there these days. And there's a line in We've Got the Music, is how music's nature is to grow and change. You can't hold back music. It's like a tidal wave, you know. It's something that you can't put a dam and stop it and create a pool that's going to sit still. That's not music. Music will always change.
It's not my Meshuva.
It changes, and what my father, when he listened to the music that I loved as a child, you know, he didn't enjoy it. He'd say, turn down the music, and from one generation to the next, the ear is always the music that you grew up with, and that's what you like. But children today need a new sound. Nevertheless,
right,
the music still has to have a purpose and an impact, and it has to be something positive about Yiddishkeit, about Hashem, about Torah. It has to be something that, for it to be real, authentic Jewish music, it has to have something that, a positive side on a spiritual level. And if that's missing, then it's not Jewish music.
I mean, look at the topics. We have Mashiach, we have Shabbos, we have Holocaust.
Yes.
We have The Ring, which we didn't discuss at all. The Ring was a song written by your daughter.
My daughter, yeah.
About a story that she heard somewhere.
Yes, yes.
Which my wife was listening to the other night, and she was just like, wow. Well, you could talk about that for a second or not?
Sure, sure.
So The Ring is a story about a wife who lost her wedding ring.
And the tension that it caused.
And the tension that it caused. And then the husband said he found the wedding ring in his coat a little while later. And the way I understood it was he already passed on later at the point.
Yes,
and she was cleaning boxes in the attic, and she found an identical ring to her wedding ring, which means that her husband went out and bought an identical ring. And obviously we're talking about a priceless diamond, because he was worried about her feelings and the tension it caused within the family.
And he took on the own abuse for him having lost it. It was in his pocket, and yes, and she recognized, you know, his devotion to her and his love for her.
And it's just it's you know that's what I liked also with the story with the matzahs al tzaddikim, that you had this
you
Rebbe.
Really don't understand the story until
you get to the end. You know, you had this Rebbe that asked for extra matzahs, and then he ended up bringing back to the Sklan Rebbe because he gave away all of the matzahs.
Right.
And this Rebbe knew that he would give away all his matzahs. You know, that you're like in the middle of the story and you're mad, saying, why is somebody acting like that? And you get to the end, you're like, oh, now I get it.
Right.
So yeah, the music is teaching moments.
Yes.
And the topics are extremely...
The Secret, which was written by Bella Levitan, is just a wonderful, important message of how to be successful in anything, in any aspect of life, is Hazorim b'dima b'rina yiktzoru. You put in the tears, you'll reap the reward. If you don't put in the effort, if you think it's going to come and happen easily, the children go to their father and say, there's nothing to do in the yard.
Right.
Can we have a tree house? Just order and click. It won't be hard. And the father says, no, let's go get the toolbox. We have enough wood. Let's build it ourselves. It might take a day or two or three, but let's do it. Let's build it. You know, work and effort for a Rebbe teaching a Talmud to work at his learning. If it comes in too easily, it's not going to last.
For me, it's not just work ethic. It's also, if you think about it, work ethic, there's the time spent, that memories, which you can't recreate later on.
Yes, yes. So that's called The Secret. So there's a message there. And Baruch Hashem, that's the journeys. That's what I hope and pray, that people will listen to the songs, think about them, discuss them with their children, discuss them between themselves, and hopefully grow from the songs. I mean, music. Look, not everybody writes that way. There's wonderful composers who write songs that just get people to dance, and there are other people who get people to cry with beautiful psukim, but the music of Journey is a little different style, different approach.
Was the name Journeys like always there, or was there like an original? Was there a different name for the series originally?
I didn't choose the name until I had all the songs for the first album. The name came after I had the songs, and I decided to come out with an album.
So it was called Journeys because the songs depicted journeys of life, or? Or was there no reason for it, Abie?
Well, no, I had the Sefer Torah traveling from Kiev to America, but then I realized that the songs are about personal journeys as well. You had no place like home. The person searching for meaning in life and going through, the Hare Krishna to the Christians, back to Eretz Yisrael. So there's the journey of a person's personal journey. Even the boys in the East Side Bums.
They talked about the Yankees and the Mets.
And then later,
they talked about the Yankees and the Mets.
Okay, but they were also learning.
They
went on a journey as well. So every song on that first album, almost every song, even the Shotgun, he's traveling up the turnpike and he finds
in his car.
He goes on a journey. Getting married is a journey. Let me tell you, that's for sure.
Having children and grandchildren is a journey.
No, absolutely.
Coming from Canada to New York is a journey.
Yes, absolutely. So that's how the name stuck, and Baruch Hashem. Over the years, I guess it's about close to 50 songs over the years.
Wow,
it's something.
So we're excited. We're excited for the new album. Can't wait for it to come out. It's going to be out before Purim, from what I hear. Hopefully, by the time this airs, it'll be in your pocket, in your car, in your stores, and anywhere that you own a listening device.
It's coming out on CD. It's coming out on. We're doing a little music cards, not the USB. We're doing the music cards where the USB comes out of the card.
Right. The card has a stick that turns into a USB.
That you pull out. So when you're finished listening, you could either just hold on to the stick, or you can put it back in the card, put it in your wallet, put it in your car, keep it around your house.
Now, this rumor I heard about there being a collection of journeys or something. Or...
Maybe eventually we'll do maybe we could put on one card. If we got big enough USB, we could put all 5 albums onto one card.
Then I wouldn't need anything else in my car.
So nice of you to say that, but...
and there's a beautiful PDF
book. One thing I know for you, you're listening to new music all the time.
I am.
You have to, it's part of the trade.
But my wife knows that what I really like is what I'm going to keep listening to. And
Thank you.
I've played My Little Town. I've played I'm waiting for Shabbos for Shlomi Gertner. I've played the Mordechai Shapiro. I've literally gone through, I think, every song.
Beautiful.
I don't know how many times. Like, my kids are walking and like, didn't you listen to this? Yeah, so.
Okay. So that's something to talk about with your children as well.
Yeah.
There's some songs that maybe that it's not just for the music, it's for the ideas and that's important. I think
Definitely.
That's important. It's a little bit of a different style. Maybe I'm an old dinosaur from the past, but I hope it's still relevant. I hope people can relate to it. I hope it resonates with not just our generation, not just our children, but even our grandchildren, even the young children, 10-year-olds, teenagers today. I hope that they connect to it and enjoy and learn something from it and grow from it.
Well, I want to wish Hatzlacha Rabbah.
Thank you so much, Yossi.
I can't wait to interview you about the Vegas 7.
Wow.
And
That
H4.
would be a great
And H4.
H4. But Vegas 7 would be amazing if we could pull it off.
You know what's funny? You always told me, Yossi, I have enough songs for another Vegas.
If everybody was...
Was that true, Abie?
It's true. If everybody was together in New York, or if we were all in Eretz Yisrael, it would be so... We would do it because we're all there. But in order to do it with label there, and I'm in Toronto, and this one's in New York, and this one's here, it's difficult.
It's easier than it used to be with technology.
It's easier. Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you so much
for coming.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
All the best.
Thanks, Abie.
Thank you.
This very special edition of the Z Report brought to you by the folks at Gaia Coffee and their amazing Gaia brew bags. What are in Gaia brew bags? Think tea bags, except instead of tea, these are filled with world-class Gaia coffee and flash sealed using a special process that turns them into self-contained coffee machines. All you do is drop a brew bag into 8 to 10 ounces of hot water. Wait a few minutes, and before you know it, you're enjoying coffee so fresh and amazing, people won't believe it's brewed right in the cup. If you're thinking Gaia brew bags are great for vacations, Yom Tovim, and all those other times you're stuck drinking instant coffee, you're right. And if you're a coffee lover, your Afikoman came early this year because most all Gaia brew bags are OK certified kosher Pesach. By the way, a fresh cup of brew bag brewed coffee goes great with Abie's take on the Moshe Yes classic, Kli Shlishi. Gaia brew bags are available at a supermarket near you and online at GaiaCoffee.com. That's GAIA Coffee.com. Because when only brew will do, you gotta get Gaia.